Hi, welcome to Smashing Apps. This is our third episode and the first one of 2020. So happy New Year, I guess. We're definitely filming this back in November, so it's all a bit odd for us. But yeah, Happy New Year. I'm joined today by three amazing educators from different parts of the country and indeed the world. And I'll pass you off to Martin first of all to introduce himself and where he teaches.
Hi there, so I'm Martin Willis. I am an ADE of the class of 2017 and I teach in Edinburgh, Scotland at the Edinburgh Academy, where I am also the head of e-learning. So I do a lot of coaching and strategy work as well as teaching my class of 10 and 11-year-olds. I'll pass on to Emma, who might want to introduce herself.
Thank you. I'm Emma and I'm back for my second round. And I'm from South Africa, a place called East London, and I teach Discovery and Genius Hour lessons to grades 4 to 7, and it's awesome. And over to you, Rachel.
Hi, my name's Rachel. I am AD class of 2019. I am from Nottingham in England, and I teach year 5, so 9 and 10-year-olds. And I teach them everything. So computing is part of my curriculum, but I'm also the digital lead for my school and for the trust. So yes, so that's me. And back to you, Jacob.
Brilliant, thank you. Yes, so I'm Jacob Woolcock. I teach down in Cornwall in England, and I teach computing cover for year 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I see most of Key Stage 2. We're going to hopefully share one of our favourite apps that we're using in the classroom at the moment and how it's making a positive dent in our teaching. And to start things off for this episode, we'll pass straight back to Martin up in Scotland. Martin, over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about Flipgrid a little bit this evening, which I know is an app that lots of people probably know already or have used previously, but I've only kind of just refound it in the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's an app that we used maybe a year ago, 18 months ago, and I thought, yeah, it's quite nice. I quite like the idea behind it. It's an app where teachers put out a subject or a question or an opinion, and they ask their students to come back with video responses. So it's great for debate and discussion and opinion. So some of the issues we had with it last time were things like, you were limited to how many classes you could create or discussions you could have, and you had to pay for extra services and bolt-ons. So what I've discovered is that since then it's been bought by Microsoft. And whilst I'm not one who always uses lots of Microsoft products in my classroom, I really like what they've done with it, and they've really tidied it up and made the whole operation side much slicker and much easier to use for students and teachers. So I really love the fact that it's encouraging teachers to give their students a voice within their classroom. So will I show you how it works? Is that kind of...
I'd love to see. I've never used it before, so this is all new to me.
Well, yeah, it seems to have had a bit of a resurgence on Twitter, and just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, everyone seems to be talking about it again. So I thought, right, well, let's give it another shot, and right enough, I love it again. So there certainly has been an awful lot of engagement and interest about it recently. So basically, what's important to understand is that there are 2 sides to the software. There's an app, which is very much for kind of student view, and then there's a desktop version, which works on iPad and desktop. But you log in through your educator login button, and so that's kind of the back end and allows you to set up your what we call grids. So we'll have a look at those. Okay, so if I go into the app version of Flipgrid, you can see that at the moment I've got my 2 most recent grids that I've been working on. So I've got one for my main class here, and from this drop-down menu, you can see some of the conversations I've been having with my students recently. So it's really easy for them to jump between lessons and activities. And then quite simply, they just press this big green plus button, and it takes them straight into the camera mode, when you can now see my kitchen. So the idea being that students would record a response to my question or my discussion point. So the first time I used this in my class, I had asked them to discuss lots of silly little debating subjects like, everyone should have a pet, or we shouldn't have to wear uniform to school, or children should not have to work for their pocket money. And I wanted them to come up with some statements to discuss through Flipgrid to see if people would agree or disagree with their statements. So there's some really nice new tools here. So obviously I've got a recording function. I can record my face. But sometimes you get students who are a little bit uncomfortable. I know I would be with recording and having people seeing my face or hearing my voice. So what they've done is they've added lots of really powerful tools to customize the way you present your video. So
okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So if I just turn my camera around so you can kind of see me a little bit. You probably can't, but anyway, you can see us. So, I can do things like I can pixelate my screen so that no one's got any idea who it is that's actually talking at the moment. So,
That's very cool.
so I can actually record pixelated. I can actually just cover my whole screen with a colour fill. So actually there's no image on the screen at all. It's just a white screen, or I can choose the colour. And then I can actually use a pen tool, and I can then write on top of that canvas. So I could actually write my responses rather than recording them through audio. I've also got the ability to add text. So I could provide a text response rather than a voice response. You've got the emojis. So you can add an emoji, you can brighten up your recording with emojis and images and stickers and all sorts of things. Students can create content in something like Keynote, so they could do an animation through Keynote and import that as their video if they wanted to.
That's nice.
I like that.
Different ways that students can actually present their content. But once they're finished, so they go through that recording process. And what I like is up here, so for this video I was very generous and I'd offered them 5 minutes of airtime. Thankfully you can customise that right down to 30 seconds. Because
that's nice.
Having to watch a whole class of 5 videos might be a bit much. You see how time they've got left to record, once they're happy. And what I like is up here, so for this bit, so they can preview their videos and edit them. It asks them for a little selfie when they've finished recording, which will be kind of the what's the word I'm looking for?
Like the cover image, almost.
Yeah, cover image. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's take a nice snazzy wee screenshot. Again, they can use emojis to cover their face if they want to, and then straight away I can submit that video. Okay.
Nice.
And now there's my response to my video. The rest of my classmates, if the teacher has set it up this way, the rest of my classmates can watch my video. They can respond to that video as well. So I very quickly get told, oh, 5 people have responded to my video. They might agree with what I'm saying. They might disagree with what I'm saying. There are lots of teacher options in the back menu, which you would access through your educator sign up. So you can disable comments, you can enable or disable children knowing how many views they've had or how many likes they've had, because with certain ages of children might feel that's appropriate or not appropriate. But there's so much that you can do to customize the way that children respond to these videos. You can even, some of the children in my class have used their emojis to present themselves as well. But what's really cool about it is, if you then go into the desktop version, I just find the educator view. So this is what it looks like as an educator. And you see, okay, is that okay?
Yeah.
You can see all my different activities that I've got at the moment live. And if I go to that lesson that I've just added to, which I think was this one here, now that children, there's the response that I just submitted, Martin W. Now that people have started to respond to that lesson, I get this option here, which is the print QR code option. So as a teacher, I can go in there.
Oh, wow.
Load QR codes. So each one of these is a QR code for a video. And if children or students or anyone around the school has the QR, you can scan them through your camera app and watch that video. It takes you straight to a URL for that video.
That's amazing.
The Flipgrid app, it presents them in augmented reality.
Wow, that's very cool.
Which is really cool. So it's for pupil displays and things like that. Sticking jotters, and it's all free and it's all super duper easy.
That's amazing.
So something that one of our primary 5 teachers has worked on at the moment is an open book shelf. So we're going to put it into our library and have children submit book reviews through Flipgrid, and then all the students in the year group will have access to that Flipgrid They can watch the videos, scan the QR codes in the library, or pop them inside the book covers, and really a fantastic, engaging, interactive way of sharing books.
That's amazing.
Lovely idea.
Yeah. What a great use for it.
It's so lovely.
And it's so easy. It's a great way. I use it a lot in staff training to get responses from staff as well as students. And compared to where it was 12 months ago, 18 months ago, it's come so far in such a short period of time.
It's a different looking app altogether. That's when I last used it.
Yeah.
And I got confused with all the codes. There was a grid code and there was a student code. So I tried it once or twice, but that put me off. But now I am going back to it tomorrow. That looks incredible.
So what you can also do is you can generate QR codes for that class and have those potted around your room. And anyone needs to get into your class, just scan that QR code and it will always take them into your grid or your class.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah. So I really love Flipgrid.
So that potentially could mean that if you're looking to sort of gather evidence on that app, then you would only need to stick that QR code in maybe once in the front of their books or something, and then that would be enough for anybody wanting to see kind of the work collection. Would that be right?
Yeah, so you would get a QR code for your grid.
Yeah.
Which anyone could scan and see all the responses that are sitting within all your different discussions, or you can generate QR codes for each video response individually.
Nice. That's amazing.
Wow.
Really nice.
There's a lot of possibilities with that very simple idea of that QR code, like you say, in the books or book reviews or in the front of a subject topic book to kind of prove evidence for what you've been learning. There seem a huge amount of possibilities for that. Really, really easy to use as well.
Something I'm trying to encourage. Sorry.
That's right.
Something I'm trying to encourage our teachers to think about doing is getting students to record videos for parent seminars. So kind of to pre-record how they're feeling about school or what's working well, what they need to work on, their termly targets.
Nice.
So we present those QR codes to parents when they come in for their consultations.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's kind of quite a nice way to start that meeting.
Brilliant. That sounds really good. I'm excited to give that a try. It's one of those things that I kind of hear mentioned a lot, but I've never had time to sit down and properly explore it. Have you used it before, Rachel, and in your school, or is it new to you as well?
No, it's new to me, and I'm a bit like you. I've sort of seen it and thought that must be amazing because people always talk about it. And then when I've tried to use it, I found it a bit opaque and found it a little bit tricky. But now you've sort of shown me it's actually a little bit easier to understand. And I'm sitting here thinking about the fact that my school at the moment we're talking about oracy and talking about improving the way children communicate with each other and debate ideas and things. And I can just see if you actually gave children a bit of a structure, you might be able to really think about how to almost record that oracy that they're doing, and that's a really, really good way of doing it. Because that's quite hard to do. Getting that down in books or whatever is really hard to evidence. But actually, if you were able to do it via something like Flipgrid, that's a really good way of doing it. So I'm excited to give it a try.
Okay, Martin, thank you so much for sharing Flipgrid there. We're going to pass over to Emma now, and I think she's going to show us quite an exciting app that, again, I've never heard of. So I'm looking forward to this a lot.
Yes, I'm sharing Toontastic with you today. Have you heard of it? Anybody? Okay, great. So if you saw before, I shared an app called Plotagon, which is, again, an animation app where it focuses on dialogue between certain characters. So Toontastic is another animation app where children can actually create their own stories, their own cartoons from scratch, and very literacy focused, which I love about it. So on my screen, I'm just going to open it up. So it was originally a 2D animation app designed for iOS, but it was bought and relaunched by Google as Toontastic 3D, and it's free. We like it already. So, and just before you open the app, when I'm using it and when the children are using it, we tend to find it better to use a little set of earbuds with a microphone on. It just makes the whole sound experience a bit more clearer, but it's no problem if they don't have, but just a little tip. So as you open the app, you'll see that you can go straight into it. There's no logins, there's no sign-ins, no passwords, no in-app purchases, and it works offline. So we can go straight into the app, which we like as well. And so it's a playful storytelling app and it scaffolds the writing process as well. And if we just tap on the plus sign, we can choose sort of between three options. So there's a short story, which is made up of your basic beginning, middle, and end. There's a classic one, which has got, the twists in the plot line. And then the last one is a science report. But don't feel limited to these three options. You can use this app for anything, for book reviews, for teachers giving instructions, for I'll show you now an example of a girl in our class who she explained river systems by using it. So let's go in. So we're going to go just into the short story version. And you can see the story arc there, beginning, middle, end.
Okay.
And the cartoon is made up of, so this will be the 3 scenes. We can add extra elements as well by pushing on the plus button. So you can add extra parts. I'm going to keep it simple today. And each scene is 1 minute long. So before the children start using it, as we always love to do, they must plan it on paper first. So have the storyline ready on their piece of paper, knowing that they've only got 1 minute per part of the story to actually record and narrate. So if we start with the beginning, and when the volume is on, you'll hear the character here is telling us what the beginning of a story is made up of. So we're introducing the characters. And so in the app, you'll see there's lots of different themes that you can choose from already, sort of backgrounds, very interactive. And you can even, I made a green screen one. I love it. So you can,
I love that.
yeah, get rid of the really fancy backgrounds and just put a green screen in. So you can actually draw your own. So if you go to the draw your own option, you can literally with your finger or pencil, you can draw your own background. And this is where the students drew their own little river system. So they drew the mountains, drew the river going down into the sea, and used that as their background. I'm just going to delete that one. And let's go to, there's a classroom one I just want to take you to. So we're going into a normal classroom. And then once we've got that, then we go into our characters. And so the app comes with many, many, many characters, all categorized at the bottom. So you can choose any of those. Once you've chosen a character, you can also customize the character. So you just tap on the paintbrush. And you can tap on any element and you can change the color. You can even tap on photo, the camera, and you can take a photo of
Oh, nice.
and then put your own face in there so you can become a character as well. And you can imagine the time spent just on the character. As per Plotagon, always give them time to play. And you can also create your own character as well. So draw your own character from scratch. And what it does, it turns a 2D drawing into a 3D animation. So I'm just going to do a very basic character. Okay. And we'll put some feet on and draw some eyes. Okay, so there's Cloudy, my character. And I tap next, and then it turns it into a little 3D animation.
Oh,
and
nice.
then make it a little bit wider. And then Cloudy, give him a name. Cloudy's now one of the characters, and it stays there. So next time I open the app, Cloudy will still be there, and I can use him in the story. Okay, so we've got my 2 characters, and we tap next, and then you place them anywhere in your story. And then you can choose, in the settings option, you can choose whether you move the arms and legs as well. So as soon as you're recording, you can just, move the character around while you're speaking. And you can also move the scene as well. So if I tap on start, remember I've only got 1 minute to get my message across. And it gives me my little warning, countdown. And then I move my characters around and as they talk. I can also move the scene. And I move the scene, the characters go off screen. So I just tap on them and then I can bring them back on screen.
Oh, that's neat.
Them around, all around the school. There's like a whole school. They can go on the roof.
Wow.
They can to the changing rooms, to the canteen. So that's just one of the scenes. So the children are talking, and when they're finished, they just tap on the stop button. And then this is a really cool part as well. You can then add the mood, change the music, the background music.
Ah, the music. Okay.
The mood of the scene, and then you just tap on the sliders, and then it plays the music in the background, and then you tap on done. So that's the introduction of my story. If I want to, it doesn't have to be a full story. I can just leave it now, and that will become my animation. Or I can go to the middle and then the end, and then complete the whole story arc. So that's pretty much it. And then when it's finished, it saves. You can export it to your camera roll. And then if you use the green screen, pop it in iMovie, and then we can do all sorts of other exciting things. Just going to give it a name, and there we go. And then it saves in the app as well, ready for next time.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's so colourful and so instantly engaging, isn't it? I mean, what child wouldn't want to sit down and make an animation that's going to look that good? It's amazing.
Well, we love it. We absolutely love it. And then can I just quickly share an example of the girls?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I can't believe I've never heard of this before.
No, I know, same.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. Oh, wow.
Hang on.
The mountains are the source. The sun shines on the snow on the mountains, which then make little streams to form the river. Tributaries are smaller rivers that join the main river. This is a map. This is where the river ends. The river goes into the sea. Sometimes the river splits up when it gets nearer to the map, and it becomes a delta.
And then at the end, you get an automatic round of applause.
I love that.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
That is such a powerful tool for learning, isn't it? To visualise something like that in such an interactive way. What a beautiful thing. And like Martin said, I can't believe I've not ever heard of this before.
It's like
Where's it been hiding?
Explain everything. It's
amazing.
Yeah, no, I love that.
I can imagine those videos going nicely as Flipgrid responses as well, Martin.
Yeah,
you could send them back and do a full loop. I can't believe the actual scenes and settings that come built into the app. How immersive and detailed they are. When you showed me the classroom originally, I thought, wow, that's so clever. What a nice classroom. And then you started moving around, and it's amazing.
It is. And
all the scenes like that where you can explore.
Yes. There's Atlantis, there's a space scene. So just imaginations just go wild.
Brilliant. I can see so many uses for that already in the lessons that I teach and for other teachers as well. It seems like something they can probably feel quite confident using because it's quite straightforward. It's not got a high barrier to entry, has it? Anyone can jump in and start using that.
Yes, that's it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's something that, again, another app I now want to start using straight away. This is the problem, though. There are so many amazing things out there, aren't there? You almost have to start being a bit selective and saying no, but I don't want to say no. They're brilliant.
You just got to test them out and see what works best for you.
Absolutely, and what works best for the teachers and the children, of course, as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to show you an app all about arts and culture. In fact, the app is called Google Arts and Culture, so it's got a nice, easy to remember name. And it's a completely free app, first of all. Okay. Now, this is an app that I learned about over the summer at the ADE Institute, and it blew me away with quite how simple, but also how powerful it is. So when you open the app, you kind of want to start exploring. So you can obviously scroll everywhere and zoom around, but I found the bottom, the Discover tab, is the place to go. So I've been using this app for art lessons, as have other colleagues in my school since showing them. And the things that we like the most are the fact that if you're studying a particular artist, you can go into the Artist tab, and then you can find pretty much every artist that's ever lived.
Oh, wow.
All in this app straight away. So if I go on to one who's perhaps a little bit more well-known to begin with, maybe Monet. Okay, we can tap onto Monet, and you get a short biography, along with what Google are calling stories. Now, all of these stories are based around different collections of art in different museums and galleries, and you can tap onto all of those and learn straight away a bit more about the art in that collection. So rather than the whole artist, this is the National Gallery in London, and you can go down and you can learn all about the different art. That in itself is quite nice, but that's not why I like this app so much. The way I like this app so much is if you go down on the artist page, you can then see high quality images of all of the artist's artwork. You can organise them by most popular. You can organise them chronologically by the date the artwork was made, and you can scrub through a timeline to get the pictures. Or you can actually search by colour, which is quite interesting for the children to pick an artist that suits a mood or something. Now, when you go onto one of these pieces of artwork, you then get an incredibly high resolution image. This is not Google image search. This is not finding on a website somewhere. This is being able to literally zoom in and see every single brushstroke on the page.
Oh, wow.
I had an ink painting earlier that I zoomed into, and you can see the grains of paper on the page that the artist has drawn.
Wow.
So it's like these amazing gigapixel images that you can then zoom into. So it's a really powerful resource. One of the things that I learned over the summer from the Institute was that it's a really nice way of getting children to consider the art a bit more. So perhaps point them in the direction of a picture and get them to say what I like about this and what I don't like about this, and then justify it. You could use it to compare artwork by different artists. You could search for a mood. But if in a class you are doing a watercolour lesson, or you're doing oil pastels, or whatever it is you're doing, you can actually search by medium as well. So you can then perhaps say, I'm going to do ink, and then you will get tens of thousands of pictures, all done ink on paper. And again, you can search by time or by colour. So if I wanted an ink painting which was kind of a tealy blue colour, you could then go straight onto there and it will show you all pictures that match that. And again, if you go onto one, you can then zoom in. And you can zoom in, that's 100% zoom. And that's crystal clear.
Wow.
So we've gone from a picture like that, with no pixelation, no artifacts, just a really beautiful image. So it's a really, I think it's a great way, it's a great free app as well to kind of get children exploring art a little bit. But there is some more that it can do. This may not work on Skype, but if you go to the camera button at the bottom, there are some more kind of fun ways of exploring. You can do an art selfie and find out what paintings look a bit like you. You can do a colour palette and you can photograph something in front of you and get pictures that match the colours. But then you've got the art projector and the project gallery. If I go onto the art projector, okay, this is going to use AR. I'll try and show you on the screen, okay. And I'm going to drag a picture. Can you see that?
No ways!
That's amazing.
And then the children can walk around it, they can examine it close up, and you get those same high resolution images, but you can then interact with them. So I think that's wonderful. There's loads of pictures you can use. But there's also a pocket gallery. Right now there are only 2 on there. And again, this is an AR thing. Will it work? Okay. I'm going to put that gallery on there. I don't know if you can see that yet or not.
Yeah.
Kind of. But then what you can actually do, this is a weird demo for the Skype thing, is you can actually walk inside the gallery.
No.
I don't know if you can see that or not.
Yes?
But you can then explore the whole gallery. You can walk through the rooms. And when you get up to a picture, it will give you details at the bottom about the actual picture itself. Oh, here you go. That I should have pressed the enter button. There you go.
In some ways, that's better than a real art gallery. You get more information.
So, I mean, that is incredible.
You don't need children.
I'm going to bring you back up on the table now. But yeah, so it's a really powerful app with lots and lots of hidden features. Oh, it works on the table now. Look, there you go. You didn't need to go on the floor after all, but we did. So it does many different things all around the idea of the art and the culture. But I think it's a really interesting and powerful way to bring children closer to art, and especially down here in Cornwall, we haven't got a huge amount of galleries, like in London, where you can just go and explore. It kind of brings it to life in a way which a Google image search wouldn't. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of that app. Big fan.
Brilliant.
That's awesome.
I'm sneakily installing it.
Have you met Monica Cardozo? Then
I don't know if I've met him in person. I've spoken to him online, but I've not actually met him in person.
Monica AD 2019, and she's done a huge amount of work with that app. Literacy and art and music, and I think I think the AR things must be relatively new. I don't remember talking to her about those features, but she's a huge advocate for it, and I've done some really amazing projects and work with students, kind of secondary age students, and actually came in, just happened to be in Edinburgh on Friday early last year, and came in and spoke to our staff about it. It was fantastic. Yeah, so engaged with that app. So she's done a lot of work with it. I don't know if she's still using it today, but certainly that's how I'm aware of it, and I've not used it since, but very much since, but certainly haven't seen it there. There's obviously some really new, exciting features that I'm aware of. So.
And Jacob, does it let you take the images off? Can you sort of save them to camera roll once you're in there?
I'm not sure you can actually export the images and save them. I will have a quick look. Let's try and find a Van Gogh picture.
I'm sure you could screenshot, but you know what I mean.
You could do a screenshot. There is a share button. What does that do? Oh, that will take you to a link to the web page.
Okay.
There's no built-in option to save. I guess probably there's a lot of copyright issues with that.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to recommend you take a screenshot, but I'm sure you could take a screenshot. But I didn't suggest that. But look, there's Van Gogh's face. Woo!
That really is so clear.
That's amazing.
You can see every single brushstroke. It's phenomenal. Yeah. So Google Arts and Culture. Yeah.
Amazing.
And is there any signing in required? I can't remember if you mentioned that, or is it just
no signing in? Just open the app and literally you're good to go. And you can explore the minute you open the app. There's no downloads when you're in it. It just loads the pictures like a website. So yeah, it's all literally open it and you're away, which is the best kind of app in my mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I can see so many different applications for that, just exploring, and like with our William Morris and things, we're looking at textiles as well. So we can even zoom in and look at examples of textiles. I've just seen that they've got a couple of examples of that. That's just
and you could filter by a medium of textiles as well.
Yeah.
And get other artists that use textiles, and then you can compare and contrast what William Morris did compared to other artists. And you can use this as a really powerful platform to then take off different discussions about various art things. I'm not at all arty, and I would normally be terrified to teach kind of art lessons, but by bringing a little bit of this into it as well, it kind of gives you the confidence, and the notes for each artist and each painting as well are really useful, because they give you, facts and talking points, and for the children as well, they can research and learn more about it. So not just pretty pictures.
Yeah, that sounds brilliant.
Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Rachel now, and I think she's going to share our fourth and final app of the night. So Rachel, all yours.
So, moving on from art, we're going to start thinking about maths. So, my app that I want to share is called Toontastic Rockstars, and it's a relatively new app, I would say, but we use it mainly for getting children really, really excited about learning their times tables, which, as any teacher will know, is quite hard going, trying to get children excited about learning facts. But the wonderful thing about Rockstars is it completely gamifies everything and makes it really super competitive. And you can make as much of it as you want to, really. So this is what the app looks like from the children's perspective. Obviously, I can't show you the teacher login side of things because I would be breaching all the data rules. But this is what it looks like if I was to sign in as a student. And so every child gets assigned a rock name. Mine is Mrs. Rocker, and this is Mrs. Rocker with her great rainbow wig on. And I actually, I have to say, the people at Toontastic Rockstars, they have the best PR. They're absolutely amazing. I ended up, because I was promoting it at my school and we did competitions each Friday and things, lots of the year twos started calling me Mrs. Rocker spontaneously. So I just messaged the guy who's in charge of it all and I said, is there any chance that you could change my avatar to be Mrs. Rocker? And yeah, absolutely. And so now I've actually got my proper rock name is Mrs. Rocker. Which the kids think is amazing.
Do that because it tells you can't change your name.
Yeah.
So I'm currently down to Trisha Marinkovic. I had to realise I selected the wrong name, and I think.
Oh no!
Kids
I think I'm down as Patrick Old Man O'Rock or something. It's a very long name.
So I must.
And the kids are like, who's Patrick? I'm Patrick.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And
I think Mrs. Rocker sounds cooler than Patrick or Trisha.
Well,
well done for that.
I can't remember. I was like Bunny Winterburn or something behind the one. I can't even remember. I thought, actually, that's not going to work. So,
No.
but children, I mean, there's some examples on here. We've got things like Jazzy Ennick and Jessie Patton and things, and so that's what the children will be called, and they will get this avatar. And basically, as they play lots of games on Rockstars, they earn coins. So you can see on mine, tells me how many coins just here. And what that you can do then is you go to the shop, and this is the shop which they love going on, and then they can spend their various coins on backgrounds and on making their character look really cool. So they can get different hair and different guitars and eyes, mouth, torso, instrument, accessories, all sorts of things. So there's just that's in sort of internal motivation in there to keep playing. So in terms of the actual game, you've got, these are the different options. So you've got the garage, the studio, the sound check, and then there's also the festival and the arena as well. And basically the way that all works is each one will do like a different function. So for example, the garage is where children will practice the tables that you've set for them. So you can see, as me as a teacher, they don't let up, and you have to practice all the times tables as a teacher. You get up to 12, but the children, once you set up their accounts, you can say what times tables they should be doing, and then so on their screen where I've got all of these, it would actually say like you're doing the 5s, 10s and 2s. So we're using it at my school now from year 1 upwards, so it's sort of age 5 upwards. So as soon as they're learning what multiplication is, they can do just their 2s or just their 10s, and it will get them using times tables straight away. In the sort of in the background as well, as a teacher, one of the most amazing things, so when I first signed up, you had to set the tables and say which child is going to be learning which thing over a long period of time, and that was quite arduous. They've now changed it so that you have something called automatic training mode, and what you can do is just select all the children to be on that, and the algorithms that they've developed have meant that it will basically learn which times tables they can do, and it will challenge them with what they need rather than what you've set them. So once they can do their 10s, it will automatically move them on to their 5s or whatever, and then they can learn it like that, which is just so much better from a teacher perspective, because you basically set it all up and then it just kind of runs itself and automatically challenges them with the various different things that they need at that given time, which is amazing. So that's kind of the single player options on one screen, then you've got the multiplayer options, and you've got festival, which is worldwide, and then you've got the arena, and the arena is where you can kind of set it up so that it either is like within your class or within your school. So it might be that I've booked the iPads for a session, and I can set up the arena for my class to all play against each other, and you can hear them all just going, "Go on the Principality Stadium," and they all just on this one. Crazy. I would say to any teachers out there, don't expect this to be a quiet lesson.
No.
Whenever you watch Rockstars, it is very involved, it's very chatty, but it's really exciting. And actually, when you're thinking about trying to make maths exciting, it's absolutely amazing. The other thing that you'll see on my profile is underneath here, it says that I'm a rock star. So that means that my average speed is under 3 seconds a question, but the children will work their way right up from, I can't remember what the first one is, I think it's like a wannabe, and it's got an avatar with someone with like a hairbrush in the shower, and then it goes through like Garage Rocker, Giga, right through to Rock Hero, and Rock Heroes are amazing, they're under 1 second a question, and they are absolutely brilliant, and that's like the coveted like title if you want to be the Rock Hero. So at my school they get a badge when they get to Rock Hero, but it's just a brilliant way of getting children involved in times tables. And at any given point they have a heat map as well, so this is a heat map showing my times tables, and I clearly need to work on my 9 times tables, I'm not very good at that, but it will show them exactly where they're doing really, really well, and where they're not as well. And it's also got the charts, so there's different like packages that you can buy with it. It's not a free app, unfortunately, but in terms of whole school packages that have a huge impact, the value for money is amazing. costing. I think it's something like we pay around £100 for the package that we've got, and that's for the entire school for a whole academic
really
year.
reasonable, isn't it? That's really
It's amazing
reasonable.
when you consider that Shobi is that per teacher for the year, so actually that's incredible. So yeah, there's a sort of whistle-stop tour of Timetables Rockstars, but yeah, I absolutely love it. Recommend it to anyone.
We've taken it on trial at the moment. I think we're on a 4-week trial or a 6-week trial or something. So we've got all the bolt-ons at the moment, like data bolt-ons and things. I think they're quoting us something like 170 quid or something for the year, which is, for 300 students, it's nothing compared to what we pay in some software. And the back end of it is so well done. I get the feeling it's just kind of one guy at home. I don't think it's a big team.
No, there's 3 of them that I've met anyway. It's like a really small team.
Yeah.
But it's so well put together, and there's a whole load of downloadable resources, and there's certificates you can print out, and you can print out all the individual heat maps down as PDFs and give them those to look at and what they need to work on. I think it's really well done. Really well done.
It's very much set up with teachers in mind, because it makes things very, very straightforward for you. And you can just make it what you will. I mean, as an individual teacher, it's an amazing app to just get your class involved with. But you can also set up things like you can have children in like what they call a maths band, which might be their class, but they can also be in a pastoral band. So you could split the school in 2 and have each class as like team A and team B, and then get them all like having a massive competition over it's called a battle, that's what they like to call it, and then they can sort of fight it out. So I don't tend to do battles during term time. I tend to set them over the holidays as a way of having a sort of incentive over holiday time to keep on playing, keep on learning tables. So there's so much scope for doing what you want with it, really. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, we've been using the battles in our school recently. We only found them a few weeks ago by chance. And we've had the 2 year 4 classes going head to head, and you can just hear them through the door being like, "We're on it now, you can't do it, you can't catch us." And then the next lesson, "We've caught you up." And they absolutely love it. And the year 6 teacher set a challenge up and didn't tell the children about it. And the next morning they came in and they'd earned like 25,000 points because someone had found it and then let all of their friends know.
Wow.
And before you know it, class 13 are smashing it, and no one's told class 14 that was going on, and that was quite fun. There's so much.
We're talking about times tables right now.
Yeah, it makes it so much fun. And the teachers are there trying to beat the pupils' speed, and the children are trying to beat the teacher's speed, and it's this amazing, like, competitive in such a fun way. Have you used it at all then, Emma? Is it new to you, or have you used it?
Well, actually, Rachel told me about it at the Institute. And today, in preparation for this evening, I actually signed us up for the trial as well. And even in South Africa, again, they've just converted it to the rand, and it's the same price. It's so reasonable, unlimited students, unlimited teachers. So I was very impressed. But I'm still I've just got to still set up the classes. But at the end of each academic year, do you have to reshift the classes from the teacher side? How does it work moving through? Do they start again? Do they keep their scores from the previous year?
So they keep all their accounts. So their accounts moved with them every year, and basically the way that it operates is that it makes it very easy as an administrator to move them up classes. So all you do is just click each class and go move up.
And I think they can go between schools as well. So if a child changes school, they can keep their Rockstars and their points and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it's very clever. They've done a really good job on making that.
Yeah, they have. It's really clever.
And do you have to be connected to the internet all the time to play it?
Ooh.
I think you can play offline within the app, but as soon as you want to sync up anything in terms of battles and playing other people, so I think you can play offline individually, and then I think I can have to confirm that. I think that's how it kind of works.
Yeah. It is so good though. It does make times tables the most fun thing to do for the kids. They absolutely love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Rachel. That's really interesting. It's always great to hear, how different schools are using these apps and what benefits they're finding. And like you say, the fact that they're so responsive to, customer feedback, and they've managed to give you a really, really cool rock name, which I'm very jealous of. All these things, they show that it's a company that really cares about their product and that really want to make a difference for children. That's the impression that I kind of get when I speak to them. So, thank you so much for sharing, all 3 of you, actually. I think that's the last person, isn't it? So, thank you. So yeah, let's just say a proper thank you before we all go. Martin, thank you so much for sharing Flipgrid. I mentioned it earlier, it's something I've never used. It's an app that I've kind of seen in passing, but I've always been a little bit, haven't got the time or not quite sure if I can find a use for it in my classroom. But you've given me half a dozen uses straight away that I can then take to teachers tomorrow and say, look, you could use this in the library, you could use this in science, you could use this across the school. And I think that's got a huge potential for really bringing learning to life in a different way for the children. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was really, really interesting. Emma, Toontastic, what can we say about Toontastic? So vibrant, so colourful, so child-friendly. And just like Plotagon a few months ago when you showed us that, it makes animation so accessible, and it makes storytelling possible for children who perhaps couldn't master more complex programs. We always used to use Adobe Flash for animation back in the day. I mean, that was an absolute nightmare. You'd spend 8 weeks and you'd make 10 seconds of rubbish. But with that, in a lesson, you could actually produce a whole story with characters the children have drawn, in scenes the children have made. And I can see that happening in a lesson, and that's phenomenal. So thank you for sharing that. I shared Google Arts and Culture, so thank you to me, I guess, for sharing that. But Rachel, thank you as well for TTRockstars, because that was fascinating. And again, if you haven't tried that, if you're watching this video now and you haven't tried TTRockstars, sign up for the trial. It really, really is fun. And you've never seen children so excited at times tables, have you, until you actually get them on the tablets or on the computers doing that and competing and earning those coins. So yeah, it's been a fantastic evening, and I feel like it's a great way of personal professional development, hearing from educators as talented as the three of you and learning what you're using and getting all these new ideas to take back into my own classroom. So I'm really grateful for that. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you.